4 days? For him? My aunt's laugh cut through the office, sharp and cold. You're not family enough to stop work. My coworkers stared, frozen, and I could feel the heat rising in my chest. I whispered under my breath, "Then tonight, everything changes." She smirked, completely unaware of what I had planned. My name is Danielle Harper, and I'm 34 years old. I work as an office manager in my aunt's small logistics company. It isn't glamorous, but it pays the bills and keeps me close to family after my dad raised me alone. My father was my whole world. My mom left when I was young, and he worked 2 jobs to give me stability. He always said family meant loyalty, even when it hurt. When he got sick, I spent every free hour caring for him, balancing work and night classes because I wanted a better future. My aunt often reminded me that I was lucky she gave me a job. She loved to say I owed her everything. I wasn't rich or glamorous, I didn't have power or status, but I had something they didn't expect. I had patience, and I had learned to listen more than I spoke. Over the years, I saw things in that company no one thought I noticed, details they assumed were invisible to me. If you've ever worked hard just to be treated like you don't matter, hit that subscribe button. Have you ever been told you should be grateful while being disrespected? Tell me in the comments. Click hype if you believe quiet people can surprise everyone. Let's go. The day after my father passed, I asked my aunt for 4 days off to attend the funeral and grieve properly. She slammed her hand on the desk and said, "The company is too busy. Grief is unprofessional." My cheeks burned as she called a staff meeting right then, declaring me unreliable and emotional in front of everyone. My cousin smirked and added, "Dad was never really part of this family anyway." I was forced to keep working the day after the funeral while family and friends attended the service without me. At the funeral, my aunt and cousin didn't even show up, leaving relatives whispering in confusion and disbelief. That night, as I cleaned up files at the office, I overheard coworkers whispering that my aunt planned to replace me soon. My heart sank, and then it sank further when I discovered she had already hired someone behind my back, planning to fire me after the busy season. The betrayals didn't stop there. My aunt handed over my responsibilities to my cousin, but kept blaming me for every mistake, every small error. During a client meeting, my cousin mocked my grief in front of everyone, calling me weak. Then my aunt cut my bonus, claiming I lacked commitment. I sat at my desk stunned, but I began documenting everything quietly. Soon, I discovered the company had been underpaying employees and breaking labor laws for years. Coworkers started confiding in me, trusting me because I always listened. Each story gave me a small spark of confidence. I realized I wasn't powerless. My father's voice echoed in my mind, reminding me that dignity and standing up for what's right mattered more than silence. I began thinking of ways to finally turn the tables. What they didn't know was that I had quietly saved emails, payroll files, and recorded meetings over the years. I had started doing this after noticing suspicious payments and unfair treatment. I never intended revenge, only protection. I had files showing tax fraud, illegal overtime practices, and discrimination. I had a plan they never saw coming. I had also built relationships with former employees who had experienced similar treatment. I waited for the right moment because my father taught me patience. Now, after losing him, I felt nothing holding me back. I knew it was time to act, and this time, I would not fail. I reached out to the family's retired lawyer, someone who had always respected my father. He admitted he had suspected my aunt's actions, but never had proof. Once I showed him my evidence, he agreed to help and connected me to a labor rights attorney. Meanwhile, the family grew arrogant, announcing expansion plans and celebrating as if they had already won. My aunt boasted to relatives that I was never strong enough to lead. My cousin bragged online about taking over the company. I quietly gathered my final evidence and prepared. The family believed they had pushed me out completely, but I knew the truth, and I waited for the perfect moment. The day my aunt summoned me to sign termination papers, I arrived with the lawyer and legal team in tow. She leaned back, smirking. "You're finished. Be grateful for what you had," she said. I met her gaze steadily. "Actually, this is where your problems begin," I replied. One by one, I revealed emails, financial documents, payroll violations, and recordings of discriminatory practices. The lawyer explained the legal consequences of their actions. My cousin's face went pale, realizing the company could collapse. I presented testimonies from former employees who confirmed everything. My aunt tried bargaining and emotional manipulation, begging for a settlement, but I refused. This wasn't about revenge, it was about justice. Finally, I stood, straightened my shoulders, and walked out as authorities began their investigation, leaving the family to face the consequences of their greed. I left the company and started a new career in human rights advocacy. I honor my father by helping workers protect themselves, and former coworkers thank me for giving them courage to speak up. The company faces legal consequences and financial losses. My aunt and cousin have lost their reputation and power. I've found peace, knowing I stood up for myself and for others. Strength isn't loud, it's steady and patient. They thought silence meant weakness, but silence was just me waiting for the right moment. If your family ever used your loyalty against you, you know how painful that can be. Share your story in the comments so others know they're not alone. Subscribe to this community where we turn pain into strength. Click hype to help this story reach others who need it. Standing up for yourself is tough. If you've been there, subscribe and become part of our community. Let me know this story helped by clicking hype, and tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel.